Welcome to this recording where you're going to listen to insightful moments recorded during live coaching sessions with my clients who come from diverse professional backgrounds. And if you like what you hear today, please share it with your friends and colleagues. And remember to hit the subscribe button now and ensure that you never miss any other episode. Thank you.
Introduce you with your bio to
Yes.
the people watching,
Yes.
those watching later because it's all recorded.
Yes.
Thank you, Maria. Maria Pellicano. She is a coach, a mentor, a speaker, an author, and a voice and speaking trainer. She's known as a communications specialist with BetterUp, public speaker coach and voice coach for both singers and speakers. For the past 20 years, Maria has been empowering people to present on platforms with confidence, competency, and certainty by tweaking the voice, the mindset, and message powerfully to communicate with influence, delivering public speaking training and voice coaching with both business and personal clients. She has written and published The Art of Powerful Communication, aligning your mindset, message. Recently, she has delivered The Engaging Voice, a training to VCAT staff and members, 120 customer service officers at Trivago in Germany and Nissan Doha, helping them use their voices powerfully. She is a singing teacher and singer, published and written 20 original songs and producing 3 albums. Breathe your voice, shine. Regarding her credentials, she's a professional certified coach with ICF and is currently working towards MCC accreditation and completing a diploma in holistic counseling. She is developing creative workshops for helping speakers and singers communicate with meaningful verbal and non-verbal expression through meditation, poetry, music, chanting, and speaking or singing with stage presence. I look forward, Maria, to your presentation, The Engaging Voice. The virtual stage is all yours.
Thank you, Gabby, and thank you to everybody listening today. It's very exciting for me to be able to have the opportunity to share this topic that I feel I've been living in for over 25 years, I'd say, developing these ideas, and they continue to develop. So I'm going to share a screen and take you through hopefully a workshop where I can get you to participate. So I might get you, Gabby and Danny, to interact with me today, and I'm not sure if Rael's there. We could do some of these exercises together and improve our speaking voice, and perhaps even just do some warm-ups, right? We'll just see how we go. All right.
Certainly join in the background, but I don't want to take away from your presentation because you're on full screen. So you will see us participating, but in the background, if that's okay.
Yes, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so here we go. I'm just going to share my screen. So, the engaging voice. So, my background is in helping people improve their speaking voice, as well as feeling that they can speak with purpose and intention, and also be free and confident and owning what it is that you say. And so in that, I use a blend of 3 critical aspects. And I have written a book which is called The Art of Powerful Communication, by aligning the mindset, the message, and the voice to be congruent, so then you are fully present and credible and have the authority that you need in what it is that you say. And I think a lot of people are lacking the authority at times because there's some doubt in what it is that you say, or there's some sort of concern of whether I'm good enough or not. So hopefully today, this presentation will help you understand your voice better and your level of communication and where it's at and what areas to improve. So, I am a consultant as well as a coach, mentor. I'm really, by nature, more of a teacher. I think I've always wanted to be a teacher, so I think in a lot of my work, I'm more of a teacher and a mentor. However, I am currently coaching and learning to listen even better. You know, the coaching is all about listening, and I think that's a great thing for me, that voice is about listening. We often want to speak too soon and we're not listening actively or empathetically. So it's something that I'm currently focusing on more and more, and as I'm going for my MCC. So I just wanted to point that out, because even in my work, I'm constantly learning. So here is the model that I believe is very important. Communication is mostly non-verbal and some verbal. Mostly non-verbal, meaning 93% of our communication is something people sense and read between the lines of our words. So they often listen to those things that you're not saying, because words alone don't carry as much meaning as your energy does. So the purpose you give to the words has more energy than the words themselves. Now, words are important, but it's the tone of those words that makes the big difference on how they come across. So what I want to share with you today is that there's three critical aspects. The first one is voice, your quality of your voice. And that is, do you mumble? Do you have a very strong accent and you can't be understood? Do you stutter? Do you speak with a clenched jaw and tight tongue like this because you're nervous, or you're not comfortable in what you're saying? Or maybe this is just a bad habit. So sometimes we just simply have bad habits. We pick these qualities of voice tone from our parents and our teachers. So we want healthy speaking, and we want a great voice tone that only somebody else can give you feedback on, because usually we cannot hear our own voice unless you record it. When you record it and you listen back on a recording or watch a video, you then can, if you know what to look for, start to hear it and see it and feel it. So that's where voice coaching is really, really crucial for people who depend on their voice to communicate meaning, not just words, but meaning in their message, or want to lead with influence. Sometimes we're not as influential as we could be, simply because we don't have the right voice. And I'll show some examples of that later. And so in this voice area is also our body language and our gestures and our eye contact. Even just using your hands, I'm simply using my hands here, helps my voice free up. I'm not doing this online because I find this is very annoying when people overuse their hands. But just simply down here, even just for me, I'm not sure if you can even see that. I'm using my body to communicate through my voice, and I'm using my face. Hopefully you see the gesturing in my face. I know my box is very small, but I'm using my eyes and my facial expression to communicate meaning in my words. This is really important. And if you're not expressive enough, or you're embarrassed, maybe you've never had any training in acting or weren't allowed to be expressive, you have to, or your personality that is not in the body. There are three areas of being. Your personality can either be in the heart area or in the body area or in the thinking. So depending on your personality, also this can change whether you'll use your body or not enough in communication. So I suggest using your body and feeling the words through your body helps your voice become more alive. The next thing is mindset. Now, mindset is your persona. What are you thinking? What's your personality like? What's your values? What are you valuing? You can't value something and say another thing, because it will not work together. The energy is a mismatch. We want to have a mindset that is flexible. The person with the greatest flexibility actually rules the game. That's one of the neuro-linguistic programming presuppositions, that we want to be flexible and be able to shift our mindset to be able to carry our message and be adaptable to other people, and seeing where they're coming from. What's their style? What's my style? Is it working together? All of that affects our communication. It's non-verbal. So if you're a technical person and you're dealing with somebody in sales, you'll find that somebody in sales wants to have a little bit of fun, wants to connect, and is more relational, and the technical person is more action-driven and more to the point. I have a lot of people I work with and clients who say to me, I just like to get to the point. I don't want to just chat. And then I say to them, well, it's all about emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is all about valuing other people. When we value others and we feel valued, then we will be more productive. Did you know that? And so matching the person, and that's in the message. So in the message is, who is my client? What's their style like? What are their needs? And who do I need to be to match these people? What is my platform here? What do I need to do? Are we online? Are we in person? Am I on the phone? What's the tone of this other person? How can I match and mirror them? And all of this is creating verbal and non-verbal information that helps us communicate more powerfully. And this has been my experience. And again, I'm working with a lot of leaders from across the world, executives and CEOs and managers and directors, people with high profiles who have got so much ability to influence large amount of people, who talk to me about these aspects that I've just spoken about, who have issues in voice, mindset and message, who feel they're being limited, and they ask me, what can I do about it? And I've created over 120 little snip conversations that I've gathered on YouTube, on my channel, and each of these little chats, 2-3 minute chats, are just me speaking on a particular topic that has come up in my sessions, and I've made them into little files that you can listen to, and they're free, and you could see by the topic what it is that I'm discussing, from messaging to mindset to voice. So check it out, it's on YouTube, and you can listen to the amazing amount of topics that come up. All right, the human voice. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow said that the human voice is the organ of the soul. So when the voice speaks, the soul is vibrating. And so I'd like you to reflect on that and say to yourself, what's really going on here inside of my body before I voice? Do I really mean what I say? And if I don't, why don't we do some reflection? Why don't we prepare ourselves and do some mindfulness over what's really going on for me? Because when your heart and your body's aligned with what you do, then your communication is going to be more powerful because it's more present. And what do I mean by presence? Is that you mean what you say and you say what you mean. I don't know if you've ever had that experience, but it's very important that we are truly congruent, aligned, and honestly speaking. And that includes being able to say an honest no at times. And there is a way of using your voice to say no. And a lot of people struggle to say no with their voice. But an honest no is important, because if you start to say yes when you mean to say no, that's the beginning of confusing communication. And we end up creating a lot of confusion out there simply because we're not speaking clearly. We don't have the courage at times to even simply say no to somebody. We tend to say yes more often. And I would suggest a no is a good way to measure yourself. When you really want to say no, just a quick tip here is to first acknowledge the other person. You could simply say something like, hey Maria, I know that you want me to come with you today and, to do that long walk, and it's important for you to have company, and you've got a need for some companionship. And I have a need to have a good sleep tonight, and I don't want to stay out late because tomorrow morning I've got to get up really early. So no, I can't come out with you today. So that's a simple way of saying no, is by acknowledging the other person first, and then acknowledging yourself, and then saying no. That's just a little quick tip on how to communicate with the organ of your soul by being honest. All right, now on the phone, just simply on the phone, we can tell if you're confident, in control, all of these words. I'm not going to read them out. Intelligent, if you've got leadership, simply by the perception of your voice tone. It takes 7 seconds for somebody, research says 7 seconds, for somebody to listen to you speak and decide whether you are credible or not, simply by the sound of your voice, the tone of your voice. And that is coming from your soul and a habit. So the interesting thing is that tone, it doesn't matter where you are in the world and what language you speak, we're going to be able to tell if you're happy or sad, if you're angry or peaceful, if you're in a rush, if you're anxious, or whether you are in control and secure. There's a word used a lot today which is called executive presence. And people say, what does executive presence mean? And I think it's a presence that shows strong leadership, is safe even when you don't know the answers. Even when you're about to say no, you feel safe and you feel in control. And that is a tone that most people are looking for. They're looking for a tone where they can just relax and trust you. And even if you're going to say no about something, they know that you are honest and you've got nothing to hide and you're strong. So tone is the meaning of your words. My mother used to say to me when I was younger, don't use that tone of voice with me. What do you mean by that? That's rude. Don't speak like that. And I used to say, what does that mean? What does that mean? And now I have a teenage daughter and she speaks rudely to me sometimes. And I say, is that the way you speak to me? I mean, after everything I do for you? And she goes, I didn't say that. I didn't mean that. You see, nobody can hear the tone of their voice except the person that it's dished out to. So it's important to realise that the way you make people feel is the end of the result. Communication is the result you get. So the quality of your communication is always the result you get. So you need to pay attention to that, listen to some recordings and ask feedback. How am I going? By the way, Danny, how are we going at the moment? Are you enjoying this?
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Maria. It's very important that we learn, again, like communication. That's why I'm here. It's something that is very important, especially in my work, how to listen to people and also at the same time hold space and say the right thing, but you need to be also listening to them so be able to give the right answer. And there's a lot of going on here as well inside of
Great.
Communication.
So do you think I'm getting my message clear at the moment? I'm just checking in.
Yeah. Yes, it's awesome. Thank you. You certainly are, Maria.
Great. Okay, I'll carry on then. Thank you very much for your feedback. All right, so did you know that doctors are getting sued for using the wrong voice tone? Okay, in America, this is not so much in Australia. I'm from Australia. And there was a research done in 2002 that there was a direct link with the tone of the doctor's voice and who was being sued. And what they found out is there was two things people were looking for. They were looking for leadership and strength, and they were also looking for calmness, right? But those doctors that weren't able to show leadership when they were giving a diagnosis to their patients, weren't able to hold the space and reassure the patient, and those who were anxious and scared to speak and to communicate were being sued because they were making the patient feel uncomfortable. So the tone of your voice can create the meaning for somebody, and in the end, if somebody has a meaning, if they feel and they have a perception from you and you made them feel something or they became something as a result of your creative voice, because your voice is creative and it creates energy, creates life or death. Now, these doctors were being sued when they weren't able to show both. So what people needing? People needing both. In leadership, we need both. We need, and we're all leaders. I think we're all called to be leaders, and we're here to lead in some space. We're here to take action and lead. We need to show both strength and compassion. It's a no from me, but I'm going to be compassionate about that. I want to recognize you. I want to acknowledge you. I understand this is important to you, but this is no for me. So we need that both. We really need this and that. And usually people are either very strong down the line and not showing enough emotional or relational enough, or they're all relational and they can't say no and they're afraid to speak out. So we don't want that. We want a bit of both. We want to be able to speak with leadership, and we want to show calmness. All right, so here we got the engaging voice. What I found is the mindset is the driver, okay? So what we think is what we end up having. So thinking, thoughts, there is a plane flying over, but thoughts create emotions, emotions create feelings, feelings create behaviors. So mindset, the way you think, is crucial to how you show up in this world. So one of the things we can do there is work on reflection and mindfulness or meditation, learning to get out of self-judgment. The work of Byron Katie is great for that. Removing that self-judgment, because all of that is going to freeze up your body and your voice. And then we have voice is the communication, and the message is, okay, what's the purpose of your voice? Is to deliver a message. And the message is the higher purpose, right? Who are the people that need to listen to this? Where are they, and what's in it for them? So my voice is all about what's in it for them. What's in it for the listener? What's important to them? If I can deliver that to them, then I'm successful in my voice. But if I am just wanting to voice to get it off my chest and I do not consider the other, then I'm playing a ball game on my own. I'm just throwing the ball and I don't care if you catch it or not. Instead, what we need to be doing is engaging in a dialogue, which means, just a metaphor would be a ball game. I throw the ball to you and I look at your hand sizes. I look at how high, how tall you are, or how short you are, how old you are. How do I throw the ball? How do I make sure you successfully collect that ball, catch it, and that you're able to throw it back to me? So it's a ball game. So I'm waiting, I'm throwing, I'm making sure that you successfully catch it. So what I mean by this is when we're speaking, we have to make sure our audience is ready to hear it. Because otherwise, we're doing this alone and we're becoming, it's a monologue. We just want to get it off our chest. I don't think that really works. In fact, it doesn't work at all because there's nobody else in the picture. So it's really important that we're flexible enough to be able to deliver our message appropriately. That is, choose the right words and the right style, and overall understand who our listeners are and what their needs are. We can only do that is when we have a secure mindset, a mature mindset that is flexible. So the meaning of the communication is the response you get, and I said that before. Feedback is really important. We need to get feedback because you could be talking, speaking alone and nobody's listening. So, and sometimes that does happen and it's okay. We don't want to be feeling bad about it, but just notice it and get some feedback and make adjustments. So one of the ways to do that is by asking people for feedback, people you choose that you can trust. Obviously not just your friends, because some of them might just say you're great when they're really not telling you the truth because they're afraid. A lot of people are afraid to speak the truth because they don't know how to do it. So asking for feedback is really, really important. Recording yourself on audio, recording yourself on video, watching it back. And generally being open. We all have lots to learn, okay? We all have. Right, so there are 5 components to voice. There's breath, very important to breathe well. Vocal cords or folds, I really should be calling them folds. Vocal folds, there's 2 of them. And it's in your larynx here, which is where it's the size of a walnut. And there are 2 muscles that are just flapping like that. And they stretch. When I go high, they stretch. And when I go deep, they shorten and thicken. So that's important. So we need to warm up our vocal folds, chords, old-fashioned way of saying chords. Vowels, how we pronounce sounds and articulate words and how we use our jaw. The tone, vocal tonality is very important. What tone are you going to use? For example, if I'm a teacher, I would use one tone. Then if I'm just a colleague, I would relax my voice tone, maybe use a bit more breath. If I was a coach, in fact, on YouTube, I have a recording on that, the 4 vocal different voices you can use for being a coach, a mentor, a colleague, and I think a teacher, right? 4 different voice tones. So being able to choose your tones, and it's not just one sound all the time. Body posture, the way we sit, the way we stand, the way we use our gestures, and whether that's good or not. Is it helping you or not? Because if you have your neck sticking out like this when you're speaking, like at the computer, it's going to affect your larynx, it's going to affect your breath and your voice. And all of this is presence. Okay, so what do we know? We know that actors and singers generally have a very good presence on stage because they're aware of their bodies. And people who have never had any creative work or worked in a creative field tend to be less expressive and usually boring and monotone. So we want to work on these 5 aspects. The breath is you put your hand on your belly, where your belly button is, and you inhale deeply into your tummy, and your hand expands, right? It's just horizontally expanding. So it's hand on your belly, breathe, and your hand moves out. We don't want to be breathing up in the clavicle area like this, because you're never going to get enough breath. And if you're anxious, you've got to check that your breath is deep. So into your hips, low. Really deep breath. That also makes your throat open. Your larynx drops down lower. Vocal cords, vocal folds, is to warm them up. A simple lip trill. Now, if you want to access some of these exercises, there are free exercises online that I've provided, and it's in my link tree. So all you do is link tree Maria Pellicano, which I put in the chat box, or you can just go to mariapellicano.com. There are 6 free exercises you can download, or you can go to my YouTube channel, Maria Pellicano, and access the exercises on there too. So I really encourage you to do some vocal exercises, and there are some packages that I've created called, how to have a credible voice, and it's on my YouTube channel, and it's on my link tree, and you can download this app. Well, it's not an app actually, but it's a program that's got lots of exercises. But these lip trills, and there's another one with a straw and a glass of water. There's an article I've written called on LinkedIn, Speaking from the Heart, and there's 4 great voice exercises to make sure we're speaking in a way that's engaging. And that article has all these exercises in it actually. It has the warm-ups, straw and the water, and has the breath exercise, and it also has the understanding of how to modulate your voice with tonality. Like, how do we go up and how do we go down, okay? Now, vowels are important articulation, that we actually pronounce the syllables in the words. So if I said the word impossibility, it's impossibility. There are 6 syllables, and each one of those syllables have got consonants and vowels. Vowels are important to carry the sound. So it's really important that we're articulating by using the tongue and the jaw and an open sense, feeling open in the mouth, like there's an orange at the back of the throat. There's space. My tongue is soft behind my bottom teeth, and I'm articulating every syllable in the word slowly. Don't speak fast, because there's no need to speak fast. If you speak too fast, and particularly if you've got an accent, we just won't understand. So it's important that we're going to speak clearly so people understand us, and also in the speech also shows authority, experience, and credibility. Voice tone, again, choose the voice tone. Posture, sitting up straight is really important. If you've got your neck sticking out, like I said before, it's not going to work. I'm going to move ahead because we're going to run out of time here. I'm just keeping an eye on how much time we have today. Right, Margaret Thatcher, she's a prime example. When she came into leadership back in the 60s, women weren't in leadership a lot. She had to change the sound of her voice to be credible, to be a greater leader. And here is a before and after of Margaret Thatcher. She hired an acting coach. Now, it sounds very assertive on the second one, but you've got to imagine in those days, women weren't really heard, and there was very, very few people in a position like hers. But let's have a listen to the change.
I've been so busy that I haven't had really much time to think about it. After all, I know I'm still only me, and so do my family. But I'm very much aware of the responsibilities, and a little bit apprehensive. Who wouldn't be, when you think of the names that I follow?
Let me answer that very deeply, because I feel very strongly about it. The greatest divisions this nation has ever seen were the conflicts of trade unions towards the end of a Labour government.
There you go. And you can hear the dramatic difference between her before and after voice. And that's on YouTube if you want to listen to that. She had to change. And you can see her eyes are stronger. You can see that her voice is quite firm. Her face is leaned in. She's using her body language. And it makes her words come to life way more. Okay. So what do I mean by this is sometimes we do need to change our voice to match up to our responsibility. Now, if we're doing this quick change, just remember your body needs to catch up, and you may have to readdress the way you dress and the way you sound. All of those non-verbals need to change. If you're being promoted, you may want to think about, well, do I sound like the title that I have? Do I actually have that in my body? Do I resemble that? Do I look like that? All of those aspects are really important. Even her clothing has changed here. All right, 7 critical aspects that affect your speaking quality voice. There's the pitch, how low and how high. If you have no pitch, in other words, it doesn't go up and it doesn't go down. Everything stays the same like this and it sounds very robotic. Then you have a monotone voice, and that is very hypnotic and puts people to sleep. And it feels like you're not really human, and you start to sound very robotic and very much like Siri. But if we use expression, meaning I go up and I go down. How are you today? Wow, that's so good to hear that. I'm glad that worked out for you. So today we're going to be doing X, Y, Z. Notice I change my pitch to create meaning. If I don't do that, because I haven't got enough expression, I'm monotone, and that is absolutely boring, and it's like lifeless. Pace, speaking pace. Create space. Be okay with space. Without space, we cannot hear the words. We don't want every letter on top of each other. We actually need individual letters, and then we need a space in between words. So we need to create space and be comfortable with space. A lot of people are speaking too fast, as if they're playing this ball game alone. They just keep throwing the ball, and it's up to you if you catch it. I've just got to get it off my chest. And I find it's a bit selfish, really. I think when we speak too fast, you really don't have anybody else in the picture. In the back of your mindset, you know what? All that's really important is what you say and getting it off your chest. You're not even interested if other people are listening. I'm not saying you're doing it intentionally, but the non-verbal meaning it can create for others is that you are very much all about yourself. And I've got to really work hard to keep up with you. So I don't think that's very polite, and I don't think it's very effective. You can also be too slow, by the way. The other thing is pauses. You need to pause. I hope I'm pausing today. It's actually very challenging to speak online when you're not in a room with people. I must say, it's very, very challenging. And I've got to stay really focused on my topic. And I'm speaking, and I'm having to remind myself that there will be people listening to this, and there are people listening to this who I can't always see. It is quite challenging, but it's possible. But no doubt, you really need to really be mindful that you stay motivated as a speaker, as if you were in a room. You do work harder online. I do believe that at a lot of levels we work a lot harder being online, because you've got to imagine the people that are there, and you can do that. You can imagine the audience. I would suggest you treat it just the same, working virtually online or being on a platform in real time. Just always remember it's about the listener, and even if you have to create that in your imagination. So pausing confirms and creates comfort and credibility. So in other words, it says to others, I am okay. I'm happy with what I just said. Let's just leave it at that. What do you think? And here we're waiting for the other person to throw the ball back. Tone is often a habit. People sound a particular way because they never have addressed it. and nobody's ever given them feedback because they've never asked for it, or they've never been in a position where they've wanted to look for it, or have people around them to even acknowledge it. So your tone of voice is going to create meaning to others on how they relate to you. Volume, soft and loud, projection. The straw exercise that I wanted to show you, where you blow in a glass of water with the straw, which is in the article called Speaking from the Heart on LinkedIn, is a straw exercise, and it's also on my YouTube. And that helps your voice project, become strong without being forceful. We don't want to be forcing our voice. We want to be able to just let it come out effortlessly. And the breathiness and the soft, we saw that with Margaret Thatcher. Intonation, so we want to be able to go up and we want to go down. I've got an exercise for that in a minute. And your accent, making sure that you're articulating your words, you're understandable and you've got clarity. Record yourself. If you've got a very strong accent, you can listen to audiobooks and have an actual book in your hand, read it out loud, and also check how you sound when you do that, because you can listen to the audiobook and then try to sound the same. This is just one way to help your accent, by, in a way, using something audio to copy and then copying the sound from that and recording and listening back and speaking slower. All right, next one. These are some exercises I showed you before. How are we doing with time? We've still got 10 minutes. 5 minutes. Okay, great. Lip trills. Tongue trills. All these are warm-ups. You know, moving your jaw. Wee, woo, why. All of these exercises are on my YouTube channel under Maria Pellicano. You can go to the title that says voice exercises, particularly for those that have got accents or those that have got a monotone. You want to make sure you keep that jaw relaxed, and this is great when we actually do it together. So these are some exercises to make sure your jaw stays relaxed and your tongue is soft. Say, si, so, su. Also, this is to help your monotone. You can say, what is the time? I'm going up the stairs and down the stairs. What is the time? What is the time? What is the time? I'm going down the stairs and up the stairs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Practicing variation in your pitch, and you're not always just doing 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's really boring. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 9, 8, 9, and so on, coming down, to vary your voice and you're not becoming boring. Similar as this, like listen to how this changes words. I did not say I baked a cake. I did not say I baked a cake. So you can even stress words to convey messages. I did not say I baked a cake. I did not say I baked the cake. I did not say I baked the cake. You see? You can emphasize words also to create different meanings. Some of us are stuck in one way only, and that's why your communication is probably not going anywhere, because you could be speaking in a way that you're actually conveying the wrong message. So you wouldn't know that until you record or get some feedback. So check the way you speak using the right inflection. Right, 12 things you can do to speak in endurance. Let's limit the hours speaking. You need to have rest time and pauses. Drink 8 to 12 large glasses of water a day. This is for your speaking voice. Avoid smoking and using inhalants and pollutants out there, or even if you have, asthma or anything like that, it's going to affect your speaking voice. So be aware of that. Don't expose yourself to constant loud noise, because you'll end up yelling when you're speaking. Avoid trying to hear yourself in loud environments. There is no way you can hear yourself in loud environments. So you might as well just close your ear like that when you're in loud places. Keep fit, because that makes your voice energetic. Be aware of what you eat and drink, because it causes gastric reflux and it affects the vocal folds and makes them very husky, and then you become raspy when you're speaking and harder to create sound. Stress and anxiety affects cortisol in your body, and your vocal folds are hormonal. So the way your hormones work in your body affects how you speak. So you want to be making sure you manage the cortisol. Regular warm-ups and exercising your voice. And the straw exercise. Avoid throat clearing. Really ruins the vocal folds. Become aware of your body posture. The way you sit will affect the way you speak. You need to make sure that you're speaking upright and your chin's not sticking out like this. And be aware of optimal speaking techniques. So check the environment. Am I forcing my voice? Things like earpods are really good because you don't force your voice. If your technology is terrible, you end up yelling. All right, so I've learned that people will forget what you said, but people will never forget how you made them feel. This is by Maya Angelou. And it's very important we understand our voice creates feeling and emotion. This is my book, and it's been lovely conveying this wonderful message to you, and I hope you can utilize some of this learning. Thank you.
Maria, this was absolutely brilliant. I have learned so much. You sharing with us.
Thank you for listening to this recording. I hope it has helped you. Please remember to subscribe to this channel. I'll see you next time.